13 centuries ago, an army thundered across the world. From the deserts of Persia to the frozen rivers of Russia, they left behind only silence and smoke. They were fast, they were ruthless, and for a moment, it seemed nothing on earth could stop them. Until one strange twist of fate, one death, changed everything. This is the story of the day Europe stood on the edge of annihilation, and the Mongol Empire, the greatest war machine in history, suddenly vanished. Welcome to Obscura Vault. Part 1. The Storm from the East. It began in the early 13th century. Under Genghis Khan, a scattered group of nomadic tribes forged the largest continuous empire the world had ever seen. They conquered by discipline, speed, and terror. Cities that resisted were erased. Those who surrendered lived to serve. Their empire stretched from the Yellow Sea to the Caspian. But after Genghis's death, his descendants hungered for more. Under his grandson Batu Khan, the Mongol horde turned its eyes west toward Europe. In the year 1241, over 100,000 horsemen swept across the steppes into Poland and Hungary. They carried composite bows made of horn and sinew weapons that could pierce steel. Each man had 6 horses, switching mounts mid-battle to never tire. They rode like shadows, striking, disappearing, then striking again. To their enemies, it was witchcraft. To the Mongols, it was precision. Part 2. Europe in panic. Europe had heard rumors of these Eastern riders, whispers carried by refugees and merchants. Some called them the Tatars. Others thought they were demons sent by God. By the time kings understood what was coming, it was already too late. In Poland, the army of Duke Henry the Pious was annihilated at Legnica. The same week, another Mongol force smashed Hungary's defenses at Pest. Across the continent, church bells tolled. Priests called for crusades. But no crusade could gather fast enough. For the first time since the fall of Rome, Europe looked helpless. Part 3. The Battle of Mohi. In April 1241, the Hungarian king Bela IV gathered what strength he could. Knights from across Europe joined him, crusaders, nobles, mercenaries, peasants with makeshift weapons. They camped on the banks of the Sajo River, near the village of Mohi. They believed the river would protect them. They built a bridge, guarded it with wagons, and waited. Before dawn, the Mongols attacked. Their engineers used catapults to hurl flaming bombs made of oil and sulfur. Their archers rained arrows that darkened the sky. And behind them, smoke screens rose, the first recorded use of military smoke to blind an enemy. But the true terror came from their strategy. While Hungarian forces defended the bridge, a second Mongol army crossed downstream and circled behind. When the Hungarians realized what had happened, it was too late. They were surrounded. The night sky burned red. Eyewitnesses said the screams could be heard for miles. Tens of thousands died. The king barely escaped, and Europe was open. Part 4. The Invisible Wall. With Hungary destroyed, nothing stood between the Mongols and the rest of Europe. Vienna lay undefended. Venice trembled. Even the Pope in Rome prepared to flee. And then, something impossible happened. The Mongols stopped. They didn't retreat from defeat. They simply turned back, abandoning conquered cities, marching east into the unknown. No one could understand why. For centuries, it was one of history's great mysteries. Part 5. The Death That Saved Europe. The answer lay thousands of miles away in Mongolia. At the same time the Mongol armies reached the heart of Europe, word arrived that the great Khan, Ögedei, son of Genghis, was dead. According to Mongol custom, every prince and general was required to return to Karakorum to elect a new ruler. The empire's laws were absolute. Even victory had to wait. So the horde that could have conquered Europe, that might have changed the course of civilization, simply packed up and rode home. If Ögedei Khan had lived just a few more months, Europe might have fallen. The Renaissance might never have come. And history, as we know it, could have ended under the hoofbeats of the steppe. Part 6. The Legacy of Fear. The Mongols never returned in full force. Civil wars, succession struggles, and shifting alliances fractured their unity. But their shadow remained. The fear of the east of the Tatar storm haunted Europe for centuries. It shaped kingdoms, alliances, and the way empires fortified their borders. Even the word horde entered Western languages as a synonym for unstoppable chaos. Yet from this terror came transformation. Trade routes were reopened. Knowledge flowed between East and West. Gunpowder, paper, and new ideas crossed continents, remnants of a world the Mongols had connected by conquest. In a strange way, their empire had ended, but its influence had only begun. The Battle of Mohi wasn't Europe's triumph. It was a warning that even the greatest civilizations live at the mercy of fate. A single death, a single message, can rewrite the destiny of millions. The Mongols were never truly defeated by men. They were defeated by time itself. And in that silence after the storm, Europe exhaled, unaware that history had just blinked and spared them. If you found this story as haunting as we did, subscribe to Obscura Vault, where we bring you the forgotten battles, lost empires, and strange turns of fate that shape the world you live in today. Because history doesn't just repeat, it remembers.